Today is a little bit different because the recording with Weave Chat has actually been pre-recorded due to time differences and other things. So I'm going to play the recording, stick some links into the chat, and if we've got time at the end, we'll have time for some questions, but if we've got time, I'll show you one of the new bits that she speaks about during the presentation. So with no further ado, we shall get started. And there we go. That should be us good to go. So hi everyone and welcome to our webinar Wednesday. My name is Kyanne McGregor and I'm an AAC specialist teacher as part of the Call Scotland team. I'm delighted today to be joined by Kyanne Fields from Weave Chat AAC. Kyanne is a speech and language pathologist and co-founder of Weave Chat AAC. And Weave Chat is a free, robust communication app that is available on various platforms and is constantly evolving. So today, Kyanne's going to give us an overview of Weave Chat as well as some little how-tos for some of the key features. As always, the webinar will run for about 20-25 minutes and we'll have some questions and answers at the end. And yeah, let's just get started. I'll hand it over to you, Kyanne.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just going to share my screen. All right, so this is Weave Chat AAC, and it's a free category-based dynamic AAC app. You can use it on iOS products, Android products, Kindle Fires, use it on tablets, on phones, Chromebooks, and any of the newer Apple computers that have the M1 chip or newer. The app is divided into two sections, the settings section and the profile section. And the profile is where you go to change anything about yourself, your name, your profile, that kind of stuff. But this presentation will cover the settings section, which is where you go to do all things related to editing the app. When you go into settings, you'll see this screen right here. We're going to talk about all of them, but we're really going to go into the button editor, the board settings, the board builder, and the vocab packs in more in-depth information. So the first thing you see is button editor. And when you go to settings, button editor, you will see this screen. And if you do images, that's where you can upload your own picture. And I also use it to add my own phrases to a specific category. Similar to that is the second one for categories. It'll look just like this, but this is where you can add your category folders. You have verb tenses. This is where you go to add your three-part verbs, past, present, future. And then button customization is where we go to change the label or the picture, change pronunciation, and it will look like this screen. So if you go button customization, it'll open to this. And this first section, you can change the picture. If you don't want the symbol, you could change it to something else by pressing this. And then edit button, you could change it so the label's different. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you would see where you can change or you can record a voiceover, like an audio clip. The next section would be look and feel. This is where you can determine if you want dark mode or light mode. It'll default to light mode. You can work on or change the button size, the text size, the border size, all of that is where you do that in this section. The next section is voice and language. When you go in here, you get to choose your language, and then you can have as many languages as you want. And then you're going to choose your voice. And then once you pick your voice, you can change the rate of it and the pitch of it. And then all of the voices are device specific. So you're going to have different options on your Android versus your iOS products. And so if you're using the same account across platforms, you'll need to pick a voice for each platform because they won't carry across. And then right now, all of the languages other than English are in alpha phase, which means we've translated the words with very generous fluent speakers, but we haven't implemented the grammar yet to make it a truly robust language just yet. And then once you're on the board, you will have a button up here, and that's how you can switch between languages when you're on the board. And you can switch between languages mid-sentence, and it should all switch over. And then once you press the message bar up here, if say you started in English and went to Spanish, the words in English will speak in the English voice you chose, and then they will switch to the Spanish voice you chose. So you have code switching within the app as you are using it. This is the next setting. This is board settings. So we will really talk in depth about board settings because everything you want to do for how your board works, you will change in here. So the first section is these voices. You will, by default, the categories don't speak, but if you want them to, you would check this box. And then this one's the individual words speaking. If you don't want the individual words to speak, then you would check this box. And if you do that, it will only speak when you press the sentence in the message bar at the top. The next part is this open to image board when app loads. So that means that traditionally, if you open the app, you'll go to the chat screen. But if you have this selected, you'll bypass that chat screen and you go straight to the board. The next options are for text only. So you can make it so the buttons are text only, but you can also set it so the message bar is text only. By default, it's symbols, but if you come in here and you press message bar, it will just show the text. This is our recommendations bar. It's a smart bar and it will adjust these first three buttons. They will adjust based on the user and what the user says. But if you don't want that, you can hide the recommendations bar. But know that if you do hide that, you lose the option to have this clear all button. You can also hide the toolbar down here at the bottom. But if you hide the toolbar, know that you're losing the Finder feature, the built-in keyboard, and the phrases. And then if you don't want the sentence bar, you can also hide that right here with hide sentence bar. A little bit earlier, I talked about how we have verbs that have the tenses. And so they will look like this. You'll have your present tense, your future tense, and your past tense underneath the top level, which is always present tense. But if you didn't want that, you would do simple verbs. And what that would do is it would basically get rid of this screen so you wouldn't have the tenses. You would only have the top level. And when you press them, that present tense verb would speak or go into the sentence bar. There's also offline mode. You can use that if there's like a weak internet connection or the internet's unstable. So you could do that and then your app will open straight to the board. But if you don't do that, that's not a problem. You would see this screen and then you would just press image board and then you would still go straight to your board. So not having internet will not make it so you can't use the app. You will always be able to get to your board to be able to communicate. This is our show clear all button. That's this right here. And that means if you have your text or your symbols up here and you want them all gone at one time, you can press the clear all button. Alternatively, if you have double tap backspace to clear all, you could double tap this and that would do the same feature. there's the pause button. So it will only show up when the message bar is speaking aloud, and then the user will be able to pause mid-thought if they want to. And then there's the clear bar after speaking. So then you don't need the like clear all or the double tap to get rid of the sentence if you want. So it would just clear automatically after you said it. So this is our next section. This is the board builder. So this would be settings, board builder, and this is where you go to add new boards, to hide images that you don't want, to move images around, to replace images. This is where you go to edit the look of the board. There are about 17 different boards available, and the default board when you sign up is the scrolling board. And then there are all of these different grid boards in variety of sizes from 2 positions all the way up to 105 positions. Some of them have the QWERTY board like this one does. Our Morgan board is a modified version of the 7x15 that she's an AAC user and an AAC researcher, and she has made it more efficient. So the 7x15 Morgan board is one of our more efficient boards to use, and so is the 8x10, which she's also worked with us to make a more efficient board for typing out full phrases and sentences. And then by default, all of our boards will expand to fit the screen size, so you will end up with rectangular buttons on some devices. And then if you really don't like that, if you use the make board scrollable, you'll end up with your buttons being square, and you just might need to scroll a little bit on the screen to see them all. So it's just preference. So if you are in the board builder and you have your list of your boards and you push them to the left, you will be able to edit, and that's this button right here, and that's where you would go to make it scrollable. You could change the label, you can delete it in this area as well, and then there's a button right here where you can copy a board that you already have, so that you say you would like highly customize the board and you want to make a copy of that board, then you could make a copy of that board to edit from there. The next section would be settings vocab packs. And this was our answer to creating a variety of vocabulary that maybe not everybody wanted, but if they wanted it, we wanted it to be available to them. So there's some adult topics like intimacy and beverages. There's profanity words. There's in health, there's the birth control and menses. In languages, we have the ASL alphabet board, but I'm working to add many of the other ones. And then in everyday topics is currencies. So you'll be able to add a variety of different currencies in there. And then children's books is a variety of books that I use with my students, like a Pete the Cat book or Sneezy the Snowman. And those are all drawn out to be used in the app as well. And we are adding to this constantly as new vocabulary is added. So now we're going to talk about the toolbar down here on the bottom. And so the first one we'll chat about is phrases. Phrases are available from anywhere on your board. So once you put them in here, you can access them from any category on your board, and you'll add them all in settings, phrase manager. And this is where you'll add them. This is where you can edit the order that you see them. And this is also where you can delete them. But once they're added, you'll find them in this phrase button on your board. When you are creating a sentence, you are able to edit it So you would press down on a word. And in this example, I'm pressing down on the word beach. And then I'm adding a word to the left of it. But you could also move that word around or delete it if you didn't want it. So I'm adding, and you'll see that this is where the next button is going to go that I add in because it's got a plus sign. So I added in the, and now I have my complete sentence. And this will work both for symbols like this as well as for just regular text. This is our Finder. Our Finder, if you start typing in a word, it will show you options that go with that text, but it'll also show you the path. And then if you want this version where it'll blank out the background, transparent it out a little bit, and then it'll highlight the path to get to the word that you'd like to see. If you're in settings, pin configuration, you can lock each part of the app down separately. So if you want to just say images or say you want to just board builder lock down, you can lock down those separately. But if you want to lock it to board, that's this option. That kind of acts like a guided access. And so the important thing to know is if you press lock to board, you also need to press enable pin and then enter your pin before you press save. And then if you do that, it'll lock to the board and you won't go to anywhere else in the app. You can also message within the app. You can message with symbols and you can message with text. This is an example of a single, like two people chatting back and forth, but you can do a group. And then this is also how you can contact support, and support will just message you in the app. It's one of the easiest ways to get help if you need help in the moment. This button will show up once you start putting text or symbols in the message bar. This is our share button, and it allows you to share to any app that's on your device, as well as just download it or copy it or save it, whatever you'd like it to do. And you can share both the symbols and just the text. This is our out of sync notification. It might show up if, say, you're like editing on one device and you open the other device with that same login and maybe you don't see the changes. So you might see this, and then if you press it, you'll find this screen, and just make sure you're on a solid internet connection, and then you can sync your devices for the changes made on a different one. And then this is our whiteboard down here. It also works in dark mode. So if it's in dark mode, the background is black. The cool thing about this is that it will save the image until you erase it, which means you can like start drawing and then go back to the symbol board and talk about it and then go back and keep drawing. So you can go back and forth easily. And then it'll save your brush size in between moving back and forth as well. And then coming soon is next month, we're going to release our sister app. And this will allow for web access to all of this stuff. So you'll be able to edit your board from the computer, from a web browser. You'll be able to share boards. As a professional, you'd be able to manage multiple boards. So you can manage all of your clients from your computer instead of logging into each of their individual devices. You'll be able to host a board, which is this idea that different organizations could come up with a board that they wanted the person to have when they're in that location. So maybe like a museum has words that are specific to the exhibits that they have then, and then those words could change based on their exhibits, like the fringe and stuff. But you could then scan a QR code and then you'd have that vocabulary when you're in that location. And then who knows, we'll keep adding stuff. And then the last thing is just our materials. We have a bunch of free printable materials on our website. You can print core boards, you can print a lot of the fringe I've made available to be printed. And then all of the storybooks also have the fringe available kind of in like the WH question format. And then we do playground boards where we customize the words that belong on that playground to match that playground. And that's really it. This is our contact info. We're at Weave Chat AAC on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Our email is weavechat@weavechat.com, and our website is weavechat.com. And I'm ready for any questions.
It was absolutely fantastic. I'm just in awe of it. Actually, I put my screen off because it looked like I was texting, but I was checking. There was a few things that you showed that I wasn't aware of that I had in my phone Weave Chat app. So there's some investigating that I'll need to do as well. But I think that the most surprising of everything is the amount that you've got already available for free is incredible. And it's helping so many people, and you can see that it's constantly evolving. So there's more to come. I'm really excited about the web app. So I do have some questions.
Okay.
So with well, a bit of background actually, since we're speaking about how everything is run for free, how do you manage that? How can you make this all possible for free?
Well, we had talked about this a little bit earlier, but I have a full-time job and my co-founder has a full-time job. So this is really right now supported by us with some very generous donations. And part of the reason we're starting this web app is that the web app will have some paid features. We want to make sure that Weave Chat AAC always stays free. And so we wanted to make sure that there was a way that it could stay free besides just us. So this will increase the longevity and make it so that there is a fund for the app because we want the app to always be free.
That's good. That was actually one of my follow-up questions. Are you going to surprise us by taking away the free part? But that's really reassuring that that's going to stay free. But free, it makes sense to have some in-app purchases or additional purchases for other things. With that, with the web-based app, are you thinking of including some paid features in there for perhaps computer control or other things? Yeah.
Yeah, so the web-based app, like the like professional stuff of being able to like manage multiple devices or host a board, like those would be features that we'd want to pay for.
Of course.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really good as well. And then for the symbols, because the symbol, who designs the symbols?
I draw the symbols.
I wondered. Well done, you're great. So because you draw the symbols, obviously these aren't symbols that teachers in schools can readily get, apart from the free resources that you have on your website, which again, that's another growing resource. I've noticed when I checked last week, there was a few more that had been added. Have you got any plans on some form of symbol editor coming out so that people could make supporting resources?
Yes, we're going to add that to the website, the web app as well. It won't be, I don't think it'll be available when we release, but it'll be available shortly after.
Wow, that's excellent. Um, and then within those, would you be able to edit the symbols? Like, for instance, if you wanted something in high contrast, would there be any possibility for changing colours?
That's definitely something that we can look into.
Yeah. And you've answered a lot of questions. Like, I just wanted to reiterate that you can add your own audio. You can add your own photos, can't you?
Yes, you can. You can add anything that's on your camera roll.
Brilliant. Does it work with GIFs and short videos?
Not yet, but coming
Oh,
soon.
these are all things I thought would be like really far away in the future, and by your smile, it looks like it might not be that long. Um,
think I think the background stuff actually has been done. It's just a matter of us implementing it.
that's excellent. I think, yeah, we're going to have a lot of people really interested in trying this out. What date is the web-based app coming out, did you say?
Sometime in April. I don't have a
Brilliant.
date.
That's great because this is airing in May. So by then, yeah, people will be able to get a hold of it if
Right.
they're watching this today.
Exactly. So in May, it will be up and running. It might have all of those features by then. Who knows?
How exciting. That's brilliant. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm really, really interested in trying it out with different pupils, sharing it with different people. It looks like you've really got the shareability feature well thought of and implementing the web-based app as well, and all of it, being able to share boards, I think is going to be very useful. Um, Probably have lots of other questions, but I think you've actually answered the majority. So we can wrap it up here and I'll stop the recording, but no doubt we will hear from you soon.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
yeah, of course. And if anybody has questions, feel free to send them over to us on social media or our email. Thank you for
Brilliant.
having me.
Thank you for joining us. Excellent. I'll stop the recording just now. So that obviously was that aired in the beginning of April or end of March it was. So since then, there's been a few more developments that I thought I would just share. Some of the things that she spoke about that were coming soon have now been released. So there are updated how-to videos that you can access from their website or their YouTube channel. They have released emotion tones. I've not had great success with the device that I tried it on, but I was using an inbuilt Scottish voice, so that is probably why. But that's going to be quite exciting to add some emotion to the phrases. The whiteboard and drawing app, I think, was improved, and copy and share options of boards and buttons was also improved. There are more languages available. And what I was going to quickly show you, depending on whether we have questions, is that the Weave Chat Connect, the web app, is now live and you can access it. And there are free parts to it, as she had mentioned, but there are other areas that if you want the additional features you can pay for, but the majority is free. So just open it out to everyone. Does anyone have any questions? While you're thinking, I'll bring up a board. Feel free. I'm just going to show you very quickly, one more minute. And if you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Kyanne is happy to take any questions. Our contact details are there. But very quickly, this is the web app. I haven't paid for any additional features. I've just loaded one of the boards that I have downloaded on my iPad app. And we have here an interactive board with some vocabulary.
Who? Me. Go.
It's got the suggestions bar up there. If I had phrases, they would be stored in this part down the bottom. Finder is also down here, and we'll have some settings. And a bit that I have tried is to edit one of the boards I have on my iPad and sync it. So I did the editing on the web app and synced it to my iPad, and it worked really well. You can access, these are the boards that I have downloaded. I'm still to explore the rest of it, but the share boards you can share with other people. There is a marketplace. I'm interested to see what that's like because I haven't checked that out yet, but this is basically just to show you that it's there. And if you want to go and explore on your own, I will put the link into the chat. Here it is. And they also have a getting started guide on their website for using the Weave Chat app. A lot of it's transferable to the web app, but they've got a web app guide coming out soon. So here is a getting started guide. And just check the chat. If there are no other questions, I'll stop sharing my screen. And I'll stay on a little bit longer in case anyone decides to pop in some questions. But thank you all for coming along, and hopefully that's given you something free and new to try out. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye-bye.